Bowling is a dying sport.
A dying sport.
I disagree. I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree.
BowlerX.com for the love of bowling.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? How we doing? Just chilling in my fake house because that's what's fun. That's what's happening around here. Got the kid about ready to take a nap. Getting ready for a couple of events coming up tomorrow and Sunday. Tomorrow and Sunday, we bowl a couple of events in Toledo, 2 different places. We're trying to prep for that. We're gonna get some bowling ball work done, some surface prep, and doing all that kind of stuff before we take off. But just kind of wanted to jump on, have a little chat, talk about some new things, talk about some different things, kind of do some promo on some new promotions that Bowler X has going on. So we'll just chat a little bit about that stuff. But hey, for those of you watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you haven't already. I want to make sure you get all the notifications of all the videos and everything we come out with. Somebody gave me a cry face. That's kind of funny. Somebody actually put a comment in the chat that said, "You're trash." That made me giggle a little bit. So that's okay. My kid likes Garbage Men. He likes the garbage truck. So he goes out and watches the garbage truck every Thursday. So we'll take that as a compliment. So if I'm trash, then he must like me. So that's pretty good, I guess. But anyway, so we got some new stuff going on. I want to make sure I'm going to share this screen with you real quick. Take me off of here, but I want to show you this so you guys can talk a little bit about this. The Motive VIP, the new bowling ball from Motive. It's the EJ Tackett ball. Got a bundle going on over at BowlerX.com. You can get yourself one of the new bowling ball, EJ exclusive ball. The release day is sometime in October. I forget what day exactly it is, but it's something in October. October 19th, I think. I want to believe. I'm not entirely sure on that. But when you get one of these over at BowlerX.com, you're going to get the bowling ball. You're going to get an EJ Tackett T-shirt and an autographed card straight from EJ. And then 100% of the pre-sale proceeds are going to be donated to the Epilepsy Foundation. For those that don't know, EJ's brother, Zach, actually has epilepsy. He has a little bit of an issue going on there, and he's on a medication for it. And he was in a car accident not that long ago because of his epilepsy. So it's one of those things that they're kind of really keeping an eye on and trying to take care of. So they want to try and get as much going with that as they can. And I saw somewhere that EJ had said somebody else was donating $50 per purchase as well. And then EJ himself was donating $1 for every purchase towards that. So you're talking some big chunk of change going to help epilepsy and some of these people that have it. So hopefully we get an awful lot of pre-sales. Hopefully they're rolling in already. But get yours. I'm going to have mine coming in soon, doing a review on that as well. Just like you saw, we did the review for the Flash just the other day. And we reviewed it up against the Rubicon, which it actually did very well against. Just a little bit cleaner than the Rubicon. Overall strength, I would say it's pretty much the same. A little bit more down lane than something like the Rubicon. It's the pin-up version for me, I think, is going to be a very good ball for later in the day when I need something that's really going to clear the fronts, and I need something that's going to pop down lane. So my next review with it, I think I'm going to try and take it on like a burn up condition of some sort. I want to put it to the test on something beat to crap and see how it does down lane, going through all the traffic and everything. So that's going to be my next review. And I kind of want to start doing some of those reviews just like that. Start doing more reviews on beat up lead conditions to see, which balls actually hold up to the test. Because I'll be honest, a lot of these reviews that I do, all of these balls look good. Like every one of them look good. And you can make them look good on fresh conditions. The hard part is making them look good when the lanes transition. So knowing which ball to go to is really difficult, because even though, like, for instance, this Flash is super down lane for me right now, it could be real smooth and predictable once I get on, a little bit of transition, which would be a good thing, so you just never know. And that parallax, we saw how smooth and early that it was for me on the review, it could very well be crazy down lane. Once we get on a little bit of transition, you never know. I'm not really sure. I took, like, when I did the Axiom review when it first came out, when I did it over at Classic Lanes, that ball, man, it was so early and so smooth. I was excited. I'm like, yes, I'm going to take this out. I'm going to go to the World Series. I'm going to use this on Cheetah. This is going to be perfect. It's so smooth. And then I got out there on a lot more volume, and holy cow, the thing went 60 feet, and it was like somebody kicked it sideways. And so I had to change surface again. And I never ended up using it that week because I think it just threw me off so much from what I saw in the review itself that I didn't know what to think, and I just kind of got rid of it. So didn't even bother with it from there. I did drill the Axiom Pearl and that fast pitch from Storm as well. So those reviews will be coming as soon as I'm allowed to post them. I know right now I'm not allowed to because of the rules. Not allowed to post about the Storm stuff before we're actually told that we can. So that stuff will be coming out. But the big key right here is to make sure to pay attention to this. This right here is very important. Make sure if you're going to order your next ball, that it is this one. Go over and get your VIP from bowlerx.com, and you can get all of this stuff. Get the autographed card, get the T-shirt, and then you can help the Epilepsy Foundation as well. So make sure to head over and do that. The next thing I want you to do is in the description. I started a new podcast, so we're doing a little bit of chatting. For those of you who travel a little bit, or even just get bored and you don't want to watch videos, you'd rather just listen to talk about bowling and stuff. I started a new podcast. Let me see if I can't get the I'm gonna share the screen here for you so you can take a look at what I'm talking about. But there we go. What do we got here? We got the small screen. Yeah. So here you go. So this is this is my new podcast over at Anchor. Just calling it the same thing, LTC Bowling. It's the bowling show over here. It's on Anchor. It's on Spotify. I think it's on Apple. I'm not sure. This is supposed to distribute it for me. But we've got a few episodes up here now. Today I did the Building a Rotogrip Arsenal one. And also, at the same time of doing these, I do a video one. So there's two options. You can go watch the video over on my channel, on the J.R. Raymond channel. And eventually I will upload these as well to the Bowler X channel. For those of you who are exclusively Bowler X subscribers, I will upload them there and possibly on Facebook as well. So you guys can see everything there. But these are the episodes we've got going on so far. I've started, one of the cool things I'm starting to do is actually to read through the bowling psychology book with Dr. Dean. He made this book. It's called A Mental Guide to Mastery of the Lanes. Let's see if I can hold this up so you guys can see it here. It's this book right here. If you can see that, I'm pretty sure they are available over at bowlerx.com. You should be able to get one over there and order yours, but it's a good book. So what we started doing was reading through it. I got through the first 5 pages the first time, and tonight I'll read, probably 5 more pages. And each podcast, it's going to be about 15 to 20 minutes long. It will be of just reading that book. Now, of course, I'm going to be doing other podcasts. You can see these ones here. I got Bowl and Ball Fit, what to look for with your fit, so you can listen to that a little bit later. And then another one, building an arsenal by the numbers. That one kind of includes the Storm system a little bit and then we did the Rotogrip one today. So I'm going to continue to do a lot of the building the arsenal type ones. But what's really going to be included with these podcasts is I'm going to be more after events, that this will be the space where I will, do my venting, where I'll actually talk about everything that happened, good and bad, at the events. And kind of, it'll be my winding down just to talk, just to kind of vent about what happened, if it was good or bad. So sometimes I might make a fool of myself and it might be embarrassing. So that might be of interest to some people. The person that called me trash might like that. Then they can really have some reason to call me trash. That would be funny. And so they can get on there and listen to there whenever they would like. Unfortunately, the podcasts don't have a dislike button, so I don't think that person would be able to benefit or feel good about themselves by disliking or putting a sad face on it. So that's about that. But anyway, that's the podcast. So there is a link in the description. If you look below, you can definitely get over there and be able to take a look at that podcast for sure. And I'll put that scrolling across the bottom as well with the ticker there, so you can see what's going on. Let me get rid of this share screen now. It doesn't do no good. Stop that. There we go. But anyway, so Let me get over. Shoot, there's a bunch of comments. Let me get on to the comments and see what we got going on here. October 14th. See, I knew I had the date wrong. I was close though. October 14th is the day. It's I thought it was the 19th. It's the 14th. So that's when we're going to be doing that. What do we got here? Takeout. I'm not really sure. What's your arsenal this weekend? So I'm going to be taking all those same bowling balls. Let me see if I can pull up. I'll pull up my screen that I used during the actual live streaming. So I put this up so you guys can see what I've got. And I'm adding a few to this. I'm probably going to add that motive flash. I'll take the pin down one with me too. But I put this screen up whenever I do my live streams. So that way then I can go over to banners and I can actually show you what bowling ball I'm using. So like for instance, here's one that I used last week. So I put my current scores up there. So I get a lot of people that'll come on there and they'll say, how's JR doing? What did he bowl first game? What did he bowl second game? So I just started doing this to where I put my scores up there for you to see. And then I tell you the current ball that's in use. And right now it shows the pinup halo. And then obviously go get yours at, bowlerx.com. So I put those up there for you guys to see. So you can see the bowling balls that are being used right then, because again, it's another thing where people are constantly saying, well, what ball is he using? What ball was that? What ball is, and I can't get back into the comments and start commenting on there very easily. So it's easier for me to just do this. So you have a list of the bowling balls that I take with you or with me down here. And actually I'm going to add the Axiom Pearl and I don't know if I can actually. I don't know. I'm going to find out. If I can take the Axiom Pearl and the Fast Pitch, I'm going to be taking those because the Fast Pitch will go in with this Pitch Purple here, or not Pitch Purple, the Purple Hammer. And then I've got the rest of them here. So the Aspect, I actually fell out of my bag a little bit because it was too close to like the Halo and some of the other ones, even close to the IQ Tour, a little bit earlier than the IQ Tour Nano. So I pulled that one out of the bag because then I also have the bonus and the Intel. And the Intel is like a stronger version of the bonus for me anyway. It's what it feels like. It works out really well. But then I have, these other ones in here, the ASIM, the Honey Badger Revival, the Volatility Torque down here. I've got two different afterburners that I take. I've got a Trend, the Purple Hammer, the bonus, and the Intel to go along with the Halo. So, and then don't forget about that Bloody Ocean. Good grief, man. I'm catching so much flack from people because they just don't know. They don't know about those brands. And they just think they're like, that's junk. Why are you using that stuff? It's like, you guys, just because it's not PBA approved, like just because they don't pay the money to be used on the PBA, that doesn't mean their equipment's junk. Like if you actually take the time to, give it a shot and throw it, you'd be surprised. I mean, I was shocked by that Bloody Ocean, and I used it the entire time last Sunday. So, I mean, it's definitely a motion that I don't see out of any of these bowling balls here. So it's going to make my bag again this week. So I'm going to be adding that one in here. That'll probably replace the Aspect over here. So this is just one of those cool new things that I'm trying to do for those of you who like to follow along with bowling and you like to watch bowling live. I think this is just an element that makes it that much better, for the people to follow along. Now I get it. Like not everybody wants to simply just watch me. Like I understand that. But I don't have multiple camera setups and everything. And you got to remember, I'm at the mercy of the internet that I have that day at the bowling center. So you kind of have to just bear with me. If the internet connection's not great, there's not much I can really do about it. Sometimes I'm hearing that the sound sounds like you're in a fish tank sometimes. So what I'm trying to do is get more of an external type mic that I can just kind of set up. So the sound doesn't sound so bad. The wireless one kind of doesn't quite work as well as I thought it would. Maybe it was okay. I don't know. I'll have to go back and listen to the last one, but I'm going to try to get those set up to make it to where the sound is better and kind of see what we get from there. Lonnie says, I missed the match game. Yeah, that was fun. We had a lot of fun. It definitely it was a cool thing to do during the lockdowns, when that was a time when basically nobody could go bowling. Everybody was locked down. So that kind of got put to the wayside once everybody got started bowling again. getting everybody together. It was very difficult to get some of the PBA players together to be able to do some more of those match game shows. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe down the road we'll come up with something different. And we'll just kind of do like some special edition type ones. Not really sure. Will you review before it comes out? No, I can't review. The EJ ball I will if I get it in time. The Storm one I can't review until 21 days before the release day. So that'll be, I think that maybe that's where I got October 19th from. I think that was maybe the day from there. Oh yeah, Lee's on here. He says Chad Conklin is donating $50 a ball for every ball he drills at his shop. And he's talking about that VIP, I believe. Maybe it's just the VIP, or maybe it's all bowling balls. I think it's just the VIP. So the pro shop, Ionia, is donating $50 for every VIP. Yeah, so there's Chad right there. He says the pro shop in Ionia is donating $50 for every VIP they sell. That's amazing. That's unbelievable. Chad, thank you for doing that. That's pretty awesome. Everybody should appreciate that. Everybody thank Chad for doing that. You know, to be able to, that's why I love the bowling community so much, is because everybody's always got each other's back. When there's something that needs to happen, you know, everybody always has each other's back for the most part, you know. So thank you, Chad, for doing that. And he says, and we're going to be holding a VIP tournament to help raise more money. So yet again, thank you. That's going to be pretty cool. Always wanted to know what is you and other pros ball speed down lane comparison to the info we get on the lane. So the info you get on bowling lanes that actually show you the ball speed, that's generally down at the camera. So where you see those cameras sitting on the capping, that's where it calculates your ball speed. So what you see on TV from the pros, they're calculated off their hand. So whatever you see down lane, generally you can add probably about 2 or 3 miles an hour to that, and that would be closer to what it would be off your hand. There's no absolute way to know for sure, but that's about, you know, kind of give or take a few miles an hour. That's about what happens there. So those ones you see at your home center, those are just simply the cameras down lane telling you your ball speed. So most of those guys, you know, it's anywhere from 17 to 20 miles an hour off their hand. Some of the two-handers, they get into the 20 mile an hour range. And then most of the one-handers are between, you know, 17 and 19-ish. So it just all depends on how they're playing the lanes at the time too. What do I do with the review balls? Sometimes I take them up north and give them to some of the high school kids. Other times they kind of just sit in my garage until I decide I want to do something with them, like do different reviews and different comparisons to see what, you know, happens with them. Now I'm actually going to start keeping more of them because of what I said. I kind of want to, you know, do the initial of reviews for these bowling balls, and then maybe a week later find and just go to a random bowling center somewhere and just do a review on different lanes in transitional lanes, places that haven't oiled in a while. So just to see how they do. Come bowl the VIP tournament. I'm not. You have to let me know when and where. I just may do that. We'll see. Live stream it out there and everything. That'd be really cool. Yeah. See. So yeah, Aram's looking forward to the burn up videos, which will be pretty cool. Last night, I'm not even gonna try to say your first name. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. But last night was the beginning of my league. Also, it was the first time throwing Hammer Redemption solid. 300 number one, game one, 264 and 215. That's a pretty good set right there. Good bowling. Congrats on the 300. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty sweet. Just making sure everybody knows at the Pro Shop Ionia. So make sure you get over there. Okay. Getting ready to head out to practice. Start Saturday mix tomorrow. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I know like in Michigan, we finally, some centers have already opened in Michigan, which is great. It's about time. And we got clarification. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but I think it's just like in Ohio and everywhere else where it's, you know, masks on when you're walking in the center and you're roaming around the center, and then they can be off when you're bowling or sitting at the settee. So I think that's how they're doing it. Don't quote me for sure, but I know in Michigan they're talking they're making the high school football players wear their mask while they're playing. I'm not sure how well that's going to go, but I don't know. I'm just I'll be interested to see how that goes and how people respond to that. We'll see for sure, but I don't know. Yeah. Just reading this, going through again. Clarifying the first game had front 11. Got up for my 12th shot. My last shot was super nice. Closed my eyes, and once I started crying, that's pretty cool. That's pretty awesome. I'm imagine that's probably your first 300, so that's pretty sweet. That's pretty awesome. I'm hoping it was with a ball that you got from Bowler X. That would be even better. That would be sweet. Bowler X, I think, is the only online site that sells Lane Masters. I couldn't find it on the other prominent sites. Good luck this weekend. Yeah, it's possible. Maybe that's why we sell so many of them. I mean, we do really well with them. So, A, because they're actually really good bowling balls. B, because maybe that's that right there. Maybe because we are the only ones. I'm not sure. No thumb bowler after not bowling from February to August and then not much to even watch with the whole PWBA canceled. I now find myself watching anything bowling. Yeah. And make sure to listen too. Go over to the podcast, join that podcast, go listen to some of those podcasts too. It's pretty cool. So it gives you something, even if I can put you to sleep, that would be, if I can put you to sleep, hey, I can be of use. You know, instead of counting sheep, let's listen to boring JR talk about bowling for a while. That'd be fun. Yes, I did like the Redemption Solid. I'm waiting until the Pro Shop opens. He's actually opening back up tomorrow. So for those of you in Michigan, MRB Classic Pro Shop opens back up tomorrow. He's doing another grand opening tomorrow. So he'll be up there all day tomorrow. I'll be bowling Saturday and Sunday, so I won't have a chance to be up there this weekend. But he'll be up there tomorrow all day long to be able to take care of anybody that wants to go up there. So anybody in Michigan that you need some stuff done, head on up there if you're not bowling a tournament already this weekend. Need to come to Wayne Webb's. I've been there a few times. I've been out there, you know, every time the Players Championship's out there or something, I go out there. And when I was working with Turbo, I visited out there quite a bit to go see Mr. Tom Carter in his shop. He's a big Turbo supporter, so I made sure to go out and see him as many times as I could. He was one of our better customers for sure. It's probably still is, I would imagine. He was a pretty loyal guy. If you could change your style of bowling, who would you pick and why? That's an easy one. Chris Prather. Prather by far has the best physical game I've probably ever seen. Like, I mean, literally with smoothness, his technique, his touch at the bottom, his swing doesn't get too high. His swing stays in the slot, in line the entire time. His balance, you could push the guy over and he's still going to stand there. Like, you can't even push him over when he's throwing a ball. Like, I mean, he throws it so good, and he's putting it together mentally as well. So I think, now he's got some wins under his belt and stuff. I think this COVID thing kind of hurt him just because he was having his breakout right then and there. Over the last, 8 months or so, he was doing really well, winning multiple titles. I think he would have gone crazy, these last few months had we were able to keep bowling. But I think once they get going again and they get the league going up here pretty soon. I know they got the league going in a couple of weeks and everything else coming up soon. I know they're going to be restarting some events coming this fall. So hopefully we start seeing him bowl good again, because that kid, he's fun to watch. He's fun to, I mean, who was it back in the day that everybody liked it? Like David Ozio was another super smooth bowler that everybody just kind of, they watched in amazement to watch him throw a ball. I mean, it literally was like art. It was like you couldn't draw a picture that looked better than what David Ozio looked on the lanes, and Prather's kind of the same way. So if you can teach a game, somebody physically, that's kind of the game you want to teach. He's versatile. He can play right. He can play in. He can circle the ball. He can go up the back of the ball. I mean, he can do just about anything. So he's definitely somebody you want to keep your eye on when you're trying to figure out who you would like to emulate. Probably something like that. And then if you're trying to create big rev rate, you need to emulate somebody like EJ Tackett for sure. All right, let's see here. Do you still like the Motive Jackal? You loved it when you reviewed it, but it isn't in your bag any longer. Yeah, I mean, my issue right now is I don't want to have too many balls in my bag. I don't want to have too much stuff. And I don't want to keep adding new stuff constantly. So like, that's why the arsenal you see here on the screen, that's why this is there. because I finally decided, okay, I'm going to take these 8 balls and I'm going to build an arsenal out of them. And then as I drill balls, I'll kind of add things in where I need to and take things out when I find something better. So unfortunately for a lot of and the reason I did that is because now I'm starting to take bowling seriously again as a competitor. Now I'm bowling more events and actually practicing a little bit rather than just constantly doing reviews and everything. So I'm doing a little bit more with the game as far as trying to be competitive. I kind of got called out on some people. They're like, you haven't won anything in a while. You know, they're making fun of me. Like, dude, you haven't bowled good in a long time. Like, what are you trying to even do? So I took that to heart and I said, all right, well, I guess it's time to step it up, make a fit change and put some practice in. And, you know, it paid off this past weekend. So bowled pretty well this past weekend, got a win on Sunday. So hopefully get to do the same thing again this weekend. But that's kind of where I was at. I was like, I wasn't bowling a lot competitively. So what was I gonna, like, all the balls I was drilling and stuff, I was just more or less just drilling them for the reviews. So finally I stopped doing that. And I just said, okay, I'm going to take the next 8 balls and I'm going to build an arsenal with them. And they just happened to be the 900 Global Storm and all those balls. And then I had to throw in some of the ones I knew I already really liked, like the Halo and that my Purple Hammer obviously had to make the bag. And see, like I said today earlier, now I'm taking that aspect out and I'm going to put that Bloody Ocean in there instead, except for PBA events. Of course, I can't take the Bloody Ocean to the PBA events, but it's going to make my bag at every other event, you know? So what other balls will make this lineup, I'm not entirely sure. I've definitely got more balls than just this in the car, so I will adjust this as I need to. But as far as, you know, some of the older stuff that I've already reviewed that I did like at the time, yeah, I didn't just grab some of that and throw it in the bag. Like, even I loved, like, what was the Proof, like that track Proof. I love that ball, and you don't see it up here on the screen either. But again, the other thing is I made the fit change. My span went quite a bit longer, almost 3/8 of an inch, or a little bit over, or maybe it was 5/16 of an inch longer on both fingers, and I made a thumb change. So I could only pick and choose a couple. I was drilling a bunch of new ones, and I could pick and choose a couple that I wanted to plug and put back in my bag. So that's why, like, the Halos there and that Purple Hammer's there, and you don't see any other older stuff on there yet. I might actually go back and really, I've got a rack full of bowling balls I need to go through. Maybe after this weekend, I'll go back through it and say, okay, this is where my holes are. Putting my system together with numbers. This is, I mean, you guys, if you pay attention to my building an arsenal with the number system, that's kind of how I'm looking at it from, you know, just looking at just core cover, you know, perspective, and then layout can kind of manipulate my mind on what I think the ball is going to do or what it's going to do based on, you know, do I have a long pin layout or a short pin layout on it? Most of them, I have, you know, my shorter pin down, and then I have my longer pin up. And they're, you know, at least an inch difference as far as flare potential, or the pin distance for flare potential. And my third numbers are quite a bit different. So we're talking at least 60 degrees difference in those. So the layouts are different enough that I can visually see a difference on them. I don't have a bunch of bowling balls with a bunch of different layouts that are within 1/4 of an inch or something. You know, that type of a situation I'm not doing until I get out on, you know, tour situations when there's a truck there where I can say, okay, my Honey Badger Revival looked really good, but in this situation, in this game, it started to get lazy on me. So I need to drill another one that just gives me that pinch more, just a little bit more of pop down lane. So maybe I just need to go, and then I'll go with a little bit lower third angle number on one. That just makes it, you're not going to visually really see a difference, you know, with your eye, but it will continue through the pins just a little bit better because of that slight change. That's when I'll use that. But for the most part, I'm only going to use the two actual layouts that I've been using on everything you've seen so far. And for the reviews, it makes sense to kind of keep using the same layouts, because then you can put them into perspective versus each other. You know, when you're talking about, like, when I drilled the IQ Tour Nano, you can then compare that and say, okay, that's what this looks like. It's the pin up version, and you can compare it to the Trend. You know, they got the same layout on them. So you can, I think, is it? No, the IQ was pinned down, wasn't it? Yeah, I went pinned down with the IQ Tour. So you can compare it to the Aspect that both have pinned down. Yeah, duh, there's a green arrow under it. It's pinned down. Oh, that's stupid. But anyway, that's kind of how I'm going about that. Self-taught bowler. Self-taught bowler here. So your stuff helped me tremendously. I still have yet to bowl above a 200, currently doing one-step drills and training increase rev rate. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great way to do it. And Clutch, I appreciate you watching, and hopefully we do help you a little bit, try to get a little bit better here. And if you need additional help, make sure to head over to bowlerx.com. We do virtual lessons. You can have myself or Krista do some lessons for you, where you literally just send us a video and you can get on a live call with me or with Krista, and we can go through that video with you and explain the changes that we want to see from you. If you want to get a perspective of some of the players like EJ, Kyle Troop, some of the other PBA guys, and see what they have to say about your game, you can just simply send in a video, and then we can recreate a video to send back to you with what they say along with what we say needs to change. But otherwise, you can just do the live one. So head over to bowlerx.com. There's a link out there where you can sign up for virtual lessons there. And that's for anybody, not just Clutch, but anybody that, wants to get a little bit further ahead, wants to try to get a little bit better at the game. That's where it's at. What we got here? Christian Magary. Pin up on the purple hammer. Why? I have no idea. Honestly, I mean, when I laid that out, I just kind of, that was back when I got that. That was back when I just basically went straight. I did 4.5 inches pin up and I did 4.5 inches pin down. So it basically put the pin above my bridge and below my bridge. So at that time, I just said, screw it, I'm going pin up. And it seemed to work out. Really well. In your review vids, what is your ball speed on the 44-foot typical house pattern? Normally, when I was doing it at Classic, it would be about like 15 miles an hour down lane. So I was probably at like 17 and a half miles an hour off my hand. So I would imagine it's the same thing here at the 44. Maybe a little bit slower because it's a longer pattern. So maybe 14 and a half miles an hour off my hand, maybe 15, so I would imagine it's pretty similar. Yeah, see, Clutch, here you go. You got a little inspiration here. Perp says, stick with it, Clutch. Mr. Raymond, why did you choose to drill the bonus pin down when Mo Pinnell is so against drilling pin down on symmetrical balls? Because I don't listen to Mo. I do it how I see fit, and I'm really glad I did, because that bonus is one of my favorite balls. So pin down layouts are just that much better for me, no matter whether it's asymmetrical or symmetrical. It doesn't matter. Pin down bowling balls actually get a little bit more rounded for me, and they're a little cleaner through the front, or at least they give me the visualization that they're cleaner through the front, because it blends the friction a little bit. You don't get the overreaction, sharp reaction off of friction like you do with the stronger pin-up bowling balls. So I don't have to be searching for a ton of oil in the front and the middle part of the lane with it, and that made the bonus quite a bit cleaner for me. So I did do some reviews, like the conspiracy theory Pearl, I think it was, that I did. I tried one of Mo's layouts. It didn't work out for me because it was a high flare. It was like his what was it? It was like I don't remember, like 70 by 3 and 7/8 or something by 20. It was like a super max flip layout. And it actually it flared all the way around the ball and then hit the thumb hole on the other side before it got to the pins. So I had to put a hole in it to get it to slow down. I used his method, and I put a hole down, put a hole up to get it to flare a little bit less. And it actually took it away from the thumb hole. So that was good. I still didn't like the reaction very well. So it didn't really, but again, that was at a time when I wasn't bowling a lot. So all I could really do was just tell people what I thought of the equipment at the time. I wasn't really building a bag. So that's why. Oh, Lee says we have a new mystery box 2-pack special starting next week too. So there you go. 2-pack special mystery boxes are back. Those things were popular. I couldn't believe how many people actually want to buy bowling balls and not know what they're actually getting. Like, it's crazy to me that you're getting 2 bowling balls. You don't know what you're going to get. I mean, you got a general idea because there's a list of them that it could be, and it's always going to be one of 2 of those balls. But it's crazy to me that that many people want to get a mystery box. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Remind everyone about the weight hole rule. Yeah, actually. Yeah, that started August 1st, people. If you don't have your weight holes plugged, you probably should get those plugged up. I know, like, when I was down in Toledo, Keith Nussbaum's shop, he had 40-some bowling balls sitting there with people getting their weight holes drilled or getting their weight holes plugged. So he had to he had some work ahead of him and Aaron. All right. What do we got here? Mark, Northern Michigan guy. I just started working pro bono with Ward Roche in Sheboygan. Gaining knowledge and experience is worth it. Good luck this weekend. Hopefully it will be throwing against you soon. Yeah. Ward's a good bowler up there. He actually bowled a little bit out on tour. He chased it for a little bit before he had his 12 kids. He's got a bunch of kids now, so I don't think he's on the road very much anymore. But I think he still bowls every once in a while. Hopefully he starts traveling a little bit more. That'd be cool. How does being taller, over 6 foot, affect speed? Who should I watch teaching tape? I mean, you could ask like somebody like Andrew Anderson. You know, he's a tall kid. He's 6'3" or 6'4" or something like that, I think. And he generates pretty good speed. The difference, the tall folks, guys like Wes Malott, you'll see a little bit more spine tilt out of them because they can't just bend their knees. You can't just extra bend your knees to create, you know, the leverage that you want to create at the bottom of the swing. So you kind of have to, you know, bend just a little bit to be able to get low enough to the line. So you'll see these guys actually have a little bit lower spine tilt than what some of the other, you know, shorter bowlers would have, like a Norm Duke or me. Have you ever considered being on staff with one company? I was on staff with EBI for 5 or 6 years from 2015. Yeah, until from 2015 till last year. Before I started working with Bowler X, I was on staff with them exclusively. And they took good care of me. They did a really good job for me. I appreciate everything they did for me. Still believe they're a great company. I know they're now, you know, mixed with Brunswick there, but they got a lot of the old employees over there. Dave Watka's still working over there. He's doing a lot of the territory here in Central Michigan, in the Central region here, or the Midwest, whatever you want to call it. And Dave was the guy that got me hooked up. I bowled with Dave at the World Series in 2014 when I made the Chameleon Show and the World Championship and everything out there. And that was one of the things I said to him. I said, I was throwing mostly Storm stuff at that time. And I said, Dave, man, if I would have had some good solid pieces, all my Storm stuff just kind of went crazy down lane. So I struggled a little bit on games 1 and 2. And then once the lanes opened up and I could move my feet far enough left, I did well. But if I had, you know, like a game breaker or something in my hand at that time, you know, bowling on those fresh patterns would have been a little bit more simple. And, you know, so we had that conversation. He's like, well, we're working on our shiny pieces. We're getting better with stuff that's down lane. Why don't you come join us over here? And I was one of the first that he signed on where it allowed us to throw all of the brands. Because at that time, everybody was still brand exclusive. You know, all the EBI guys were throwing only EBI balls. And so it was me, Matt Gasson, and I think Andrew was one of them at the time. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. Frank Snodgrass was another one eventually, I think. But we were, you know, some of the what they called elite staffers, that we weren't pro staffers, but we were elite staffers. We were allowed to, you know, throw all the brands. And that's when they kind of made it to where all the professionals could then throw all the brands. And that was kind of where it started, with having all the brands in their bags so they could use them all. So yeah, I was on staff at one point. Actually, I was on motive staff back in 2008, 2009 for a year. They were, you know, Brett Spangler was one of the first guys to give me a chance on a staff. And I had my best league season with motive that year. I bowled 868, which was at that time a house record, until little pipsqueak Steve Novak beat it on the same pair of lanes like two or 3 years later. Bowled 870 something, I think. So, but that was with a purple QZ1, and I actually referenced that ball in this last motive flash bowling ball review. We playing that track area, or the just left of the track area, that 11-12 range, piping it up on the league pattern. I could just sit there. I had front nine just about every week with that ball to start the first game. And then when transition hit, generally it would get a little bit different, but I averaged like 245 or something that year, or something crazy. That's crazy for me because I never really bowled good on league patterns. It was a difficult thing for me to get figured out. And EJ even said in that live interview you saw the other day, he struggles on the league patterns. And I try to explain it a little bit to people why we struggle. And it's, for me personally, it's because of developing a certain touch when they're tougher. When they're tough, when they're flat, you know, when you miss left, you want your instinct to be to kind of fan it at the bottom a little bit, to miss it, to take some revolutions off. So that way you only 4-pin, or even give yourself a chance to strike still. So you don't big 4 or, 3-6-10 or 3-6-9-10. And then when you miss right, you kind of catch it a little bit more and you get your hand to rotate around it a little bit. So that way it hooks to the front, to the right. And those are like foul line adjustments there. But when you do those things and you don't switch that off when you bowl in league, if you're bowling in league and you miss left and you fan it at the bottom or miss it at the bottom, you're going to 2-pin, or you're going to 2-10 or 2-8-10 or wash out or something like that. And then the opposite, when you miss right and you catch it more and you rotate your hand around it more, the ball's going to overreact off the dry and you're going to big 4 or something. So I struggled. I always bowled in league. I was your good 220 average bowler because I would literally go like double 9 spare, 3-bagger, split, double 9 spare, like stuff like that the entire time. And bowl 220 just about every game. Rarely would I ever bowl games above 250, except that one year when I had that motive ball. That was the best. That was the best year for me. Nope. Jerry, I don't use a spare ball anymore. Believe it or not, I actually got out of a spare ball, and I've started using my strike ball, or when I really am concerned with spare shooting, I'll use my purple hammer for my spare ball. So I've gotten pretty good at flattening my hand out or doing the right thing. And I'm starting to realize that I'm missing 3-6-10s less because of that little bit of hook, that little bit of pickup down lane that you see from these bowling balls. So I think I'm doing okay spare wise. I'm missing more spares than I want, of course, always. But I'm still getting used to it. I haven't really missed any real important ones yet, so that's good. How does height affect arm swing, or what should you do? Another one to watch is like Mika Koivuniemen. Like his arm swing doesn't get too high. I mean, it's all based on you. It's all what you want to do. Height isn't going to do a whole lot for your swing, I don't think. I mean, your swing is your swing. I don't think it really matters how tall you are. As long as you keep it in line, keep it going on target, I think you'll be okay. Yes, the baller was one that I did like, and that's probably one that I will go and redo once I decide that I'm going to redo it. That was a good bowling ball for when on longer patterns when I could get left and when I get left on longer patterns or heavy oil patterns in the middle, then they would ball would be really good. Dan Young, this guy, I couldn't handle him. I had to get rid of him. He had nothing but negative stuff to say most times whenever I saw him floating around Facebook. I couldn't deal with it anymore. So he's mad at me because I got rid of him. You can see I can't even see his Facebook picture. Oh, he's mad at me. So that's okay. I'm not bringing you back, Dan. You got to pay your penalty now. You don't want to play nice, then you don't get to play at all. Sorry. Who's the piano player? Yeah, it's not me. I am not the piano player. It would be the missus. And actually, this isn't even my house. This is just a green screen. I wish it was my house. It's actually a nice little living room area here. But nope, not my house. I just needed to. I didn't want you to see my laundry room because actually right behind me is my laundry room. So you don't need to see that. How do you handle coming back from a foot injury? Very carefully. I think you should just listen to your body. Don't try to come back too quick. I don't want you to hurt yourself anymore. So go through physical therapy or whatever you need to do, and then you'll be good to go on that. So just kind of wait it out and just kind of wait until it's actually you're 100% before you start getting back on it again. Trying to get through here. Oh, I like these comments. These are good. Little jab at Brad and Kyle over there. Nah, it's not a competition. Like me and Brad and Kyle, we've had conversations about like our YouTube channels before, and it's not a competition because when I'm kind of mad at them right now because they're not making enough videos. Because when they're making videos, now my videos show up on theirs as recommendations for the next videos, and vice versa. When I'm making videos, theirs show up for recommendations. So we need more people to be making videos. So now you got like Wesley Lowe out there Thank you, Wesley, for making a YouTube channel. I appreciate it. Everybody go take a look at Wesley's channel as well. We've got the Bowler X channel. I've got my channel. Try to mix things up a little bit between the two of them. I'm trying to use them both equally. You're going to see the majority of ball reviews and stuff on the Bowler X channel, and then you'll see like quick snippets of ball reviews on mine, along with podcast type stuff on mine. A little bit of training here and there on both channels. So, yeah, and then you have all kinds of different other ones out there. You've got, I know you got the Bowling Academy one out there. I don't know how much they use it anymore as far as their YouTube channel goes. There's an Arthur guy. I haven't seen a video from him in a while either. I'm a little mad at him at this point, but he didn't make Arthur or the Art of Bowling or something like that. He hasn't made a video in a while. I haven't seen him pop up on my newsfeed or anything in a while. Lane One Ball Reviews, usually he does okay. He's mad at me too because of this stuff that's going around, the virus and stuff. We had a conversation about that. He don't like it. But anyway, yeah, no, it's not a competition. But I do appreciate your comment. I like when people tell me they like the stuff. That's good. See? How do I say this? Quamaine Wilson, sign me up for the mystery box. Heck yeah. We're doing mystery boxes for a while now. It's going to be pretty sweet. I've been watching the 2019 Weber Cup on YouTube. Do you see the Weber Cup catching on in the U.S. as a big bowling venue? No, I don't think so. You never know. I mean, I don't know. It's not attractive to me. Like, I don't know. It's weird to me. I'll watch it every once in a while, but it's just not something. I think the PBA has the most caption. Like, I like the PBA stuff. I like what they do there. Do you think in a league setting, 10 people on a set, that one person using urethane or plastic can blow a lane up? I mean, I wouldn't say blow it up, but it can definitely change it. It definitely transitions the lanes a little bit quicker than anything else, because that's what urethane does. I made a video on this, so make sure you go check it out. But it's the urethane likes to pick up the oil in the front part of the lane and move it down lane. So those dull surfaces that you get out of urethane, they create a little bit of carry down, and your ball tends to hook a little bit early and not hook down lane. Or at least gives you that illusion of it. So, yeah, I mean, I think it changes the lane a little bit quicker than everything, but I wouldn't say it blows it up. It forces you to attack the lane a little bit different. That's all. Mo knows a lot, but most of his advice seems to be how to get the most motion possible for somebody with a two. I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's his goal. I think he's focusing more on the league bowler, which is what he should be doing, because that is 99% of bowlers is the league bowler. The 1% of competitive bowlers and elite bowlers and stuff like that, like they're it's a little bit different when you're coming to the competitive scene. When you're looking for a ball reaction on a lane condition that's got a ton of oil in the middle and nothing to the right, you're going to play the oil in the middle, and you're looking for the best ball, most motion you can get out of it. So his ideas on that are very good, and I would agree with those. We met at the Columbus 10K. Are you going to play a tune for us? No, I'm not going to play a tune. Not my piano. I can't touch it. Where's it? You can't touch it. Comparing the Honey Badger Revival to a Honey Badger Extreme Pearl, if I was trying to save space, which would you go with? Well, I got rid of the Extreme Pearl. It was a little too smooth down lane. The Revival was much better down lane for me. So I guess I would say the Revival is a little bit better choice. All right. Thank you. Appreciate you, Matthew. Appreciate you very much. Always love those comments. Steve, I wouldn't be able to tell you that because I'd have to know your rev rate. 13 miles an hour, if your rev rate's above 400, you're going to probably want to start using some shorter pin layouts or using some weaker equipment, because you're going to be more rev dominant than you are speed dominant. So depends on what your rev rate is on that. I wouldn't be able to answer you that for sure. Beef and Barnsey show. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch much of that. I'm really not, even though I do them myself, the podcast and stuff, like me personally, I'm not into those. Like, I don't know. I'm just not into the bowling conversation unless I'm doing the conversation. I mean, I'm just not into listening to it for some reason. So, but yeah, I mean, I hope they keep doing it. Again, the more bowling shows that there are out there, the more recommendations for everybody else to be seen. So that's pretty cool. What we got here? Garrett Brower Jr. would love to get you on my show one Saturday night. I'm not sure what show that is, but let me know. Shoot me a Facebook message or something, and we'll talk about it. Finally caught up. Here we go. Okay. Bought a mystery box from Bowler X, got the All Road and the Ebonite Choice Solid. Was praying I would have gotten an IQ Tour. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody prays to get an IQ Tour on those were probably the best lower name. Yes, I pronounced the name right. Boom, perfect. But the IQ Tour is one of the best benchmark lower end balls, and I think that bonus is actually going to be ranking up there with me too. If you go pin down on a strong ball like a Prism Solid, isn't that defeating the purpose of the style of ball? What are the benefits in your opinion? No, I mean, because I'm using the strength of the bowling ball to create a smoother shape. Now, if you want to create an overall big, huge, giant hook, sure, you should use a weaker pin-up layout or a longer pin-up layout if you want. But for me personally, when I'm going to a big, strong ball like that, I rarely I may have one or two balls that I ever even bring around that I just leave in the car just in case I need them. But most times with a big solid, like a Prism Solid, I'm going pin down on them to smooth it out, to make it to where it's rounded, to give it as much predictability as I can. How do you determine rev rate? There's a video. Look up the video. Just type it in YouTube, and it'll tell you how do I figure out my rev rate. But it's just based on math. You know, how many revolutions before the ball hits the pins and the time that it gets down there. So go check that out. You'll be able to tell by yourself. Otherwise, go to a bowling center that has like Specto or something, and it'll give you a round ballpark look at it. Some pro shops have the track, set up as well where they can check it for you. Storm Trend is for us to use, or did they build the ball for how Belmo would want it to himself? I think it was a mixture of both. The Trend to me seems like it's got that mixture of a good piece that reads the middle of the lane, but still continues and goes hard down lane. It's pretty strong down lane. So that's kind of what I see out of it. I would have liked I don't know. I think it fits my bag really well for when I can play left and jam it in the middle of the lane and not have to throw it dead right. I think it's a little too strong when I have to throw it into the dirt to the right and it has to hook. I think it kind of stops on me if I have to throw it into the friction. But that's just me. What advice would you give someone looking to make the jump to bowl some PBA regionals? I'm a higher average player and look to compete professionally on the weekends. Jump into it, honestly. I think the only way you learn, I've always said the best practice is actual competition. The only way you're going to get better is by actually competing. And I know that kind of sucks because you want to make sure you're prepped, you're prepared, but you can't prepare for the way the lanes change out on even the regional tour or even on national tour. Like it's night and day from regional to national, and it's night and day from league to regional. So the only way you gain that experience is by bowling it. What you could do, and I think what the best thing, I don't know where you're from, but you need to find a lot of local events. Find lots of local events who they're putting tough patterns out and bowl on them every single weekend. And then when the regionals come up, bowl the regionals as well, and get your mix of bowling on the tougher conditions, seeing the transitions, making those ball choices quicker, just doing those things that you got to do to get ready for that type of stuff, because it's way different than league. If you got a bowling center that'll put some tough stuff out for you to practice on, definitely practice on it. But talk to a pro shop guy. If you're a pro shop guy yourself, make sure you build your arsenal to a point where you have a good variety and exactly what your stuff's going to do. So you can make ball changes that, are easier to make rather than just guessing. So the only way to get better is to get out there and actually do it. So just go bowl, go put some money in and take your lumps at first. I think first regional I ever bowled, I finished in the bottom half. So, it happens. That's how it goes. You just got to get better. You'll learn. How would you attack game 3 league if it gets over under? That's a great question. I usually go to my crux prime and move left, and I try to smooth out the back end. Is that a good move? I mean, it really depends. I always tend to grab a stronger, bigger ball and go to the middle of the lane where the oil is, because it gets crazy to the right. If I can't use a weaker ball because it doesn't hook in the oil. So I think you're on the right track. Crux Prime in the middle. Maybe that's a little bit too strong. Maybe something just a step down from there would be okay for you. But yeah, I mean, I think you're on the right path there, trying to play the oil instead of trying to play the friction to the right. Oh, I missed one. I'll go back up here. If my arsenal is a spare ball, counterattack pearl, idle pearl, high road X, 17 to 18 with 500 rev, what would you recommend to fill the heavy oil? Well, yeah, you definitely don't have anything in there. So you'd want something like a UFO would be good. Rubicon would be good. An Aspect would be good. I think you would really, really like that Bloody Ocean. I think that would be a good spot for heavier oil. Even though it's a pearl, it reacts earlier than a pearl. So, yeah, I mean, I would kind of take a look at those first. Good ball to replace the Ebonite Maverick Pearl. Or would you? I mean, yeah, it's an older ball. Any pearl would probably be better than that one right now. That one was an okay ball, but I think every pearl right now is probably better than that. So it doesn't matter what you choose. I think just about anything nowadays would be a good replacement for it. So I wouldn't be too concerned with what you choose. I think you'd be okay. New England Bowlers Association, best scratch bowling tournament around. Yeah, I've heard a lot of at the NEBA, right? NEBA. I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. Good buddy Alex Aguiar seems to bowl really good in those, along with Anthony Pepe. Those guys seem to dominate that tour. Got a lot of Ryan Graywatts, another one that's out there bowling those all the time. You get some good bowlers out in those events. So for sure, they run some good tournaments. I never hear anything bad. Yep. I think you meant to say throw your hat in the ring. Yep, same thing. How would one get sponsored by a ball company? Start a YouTube channel. Start a podcast. Get your name out there as best you can. Try to teach. Try to bowl as much as you can. You have to show value as to how you can sell equipment, how you doing reviews is valuable to a company, how you can sell equipment, because it's really not about how good of a bowler you are anymore, because now it's about selling equipment. That's why you see an awful lot of arguments on social media about, well, why is this guy on staff and I average 30 pins higher than him? Well, because you don't have a social media presence, because you don't have the ability to talk to people, because maybe you're a jerk to people. Who knows? I mean, it's just, you've got to have a little bit of a personality. You got to be willing to talk to people, and you've got to be willing to sell things, so without looking like a complete salesman all the time. So it's just about having conversations. Start a podcast, start a YouTube channel, do it, whatever you can. And just because you only get 10 to 15 views at first, or maybe even just a couple hundred views, don't stop. Just keep going, because eventually it'll get out there and you'll start to build a name. You got to build a reputation. You got to build a name for yourself somehow. No matter how you do it. I'm not saying to go rob a bank or anything, because that'll get your name out there for sure. But definitely don't be afraid to engage in some controversial topics online. That's why I personally will get involved every once in a while with certain topics, like, this virus junk I'll talk about every once in a while. But I won't get involved in any of the racial debates or anything like that, because that never ends well. But don't be afraid to get in the controversy, the urethane talk, the stuff like that. Put your opinion out there. Just try to do it without damning anything, without being belittling and stuff like that. That's where I had a problem a few years back, is I'd get too prideful. I'd get too proud with my conversations. And sometimes I would get a little too aggressive with people. And, I built a little bit of a bad name at first with that. And I got better with it over time. Once I figured it out, how to be a little bit more gentle and just have conversation. But diving into diving into, I guess that's what they call everything nowadays, is conspiracy. But diving into the controversy isn't always a bad thing. I know a lot of companies will say they don't want you to be involved in that, but it's definitely a way to get yourself noticed. I'm not saying to do it every day. I'm just saying don't be afraid to talk about the things that not a lot of people want to talk about. But just build a name. That's all I can say. I like my MVP. I don't know if I like mine because I don't have one. DJ, what he is asking is, when the lanes become cliff, what balls are the best? I don't know. I got to be honest. I have no idea. I don't know what balls would be best. I don't bowl on that very often. I mean, it's very rare that I see that anymore because we're not bowling on tour right now. So That's usually the only time I see the giant cliff is when we get out there. Well, when I get out there, it's the same thing. It's using the big strong, like a Redemption Solid, even some of the ASIMs. I usually would use an asymmetrical ball, like a Proof would be good in the middle of the lane. A Baller was good for me when they got cliffed. I think now on the equipment I have in front of me right here, I think I would be using, I can't believe I still have all these bowling balls sitting there. I don't even need those. Let me change that. But I would be using that, the Honey Badger Revival was good when they were cliffed. The Volatility Torque, that's going to be another good one, so I would be checking that stuff out right there. And yeah, that's kind of, where'd it go? Where'd my good layover go? Oh, there it is. There we go. All right. But those are the kind of balls that I would use. That's kind of the only thing that I have for you on that. Are the match game shows coming back to your channel? They were a real hoot to watch. Yeah, I kind of touched on that a little bit earlier. It's tough to bring those back because we can't get, now that everybody's bowling again, it's tough to get, a lot of the guys together, the gals. It's hard to get everybody together at the same time to be able to do that. So maybe, you never know. Maybe we'll be able to catch one here or there or try something a little bit different. Who knows? We'll try it out, see what we can get. Thoughts on the Web Tour Hybrid? Not sure yet. Don't have it. They were supposed to be here a while ago. Haven't quite gotten them yet. So I guess they reshipped all that new stuff back out to me. So hopefully I should have it soon. A little bit of a mix up there because of the COVID stuff, I think. But they got them reshipped out. So I should have them here shortly to be able to do the reviews on all that stuff. Very sound advice. Sam, in your opinion, what's the best symmetrical solid out there? Right now, I like that bonus. That bonus is probably the best thing I'm seeing right there for a good benchmark symmetrical, or that, or the Aspect. The Aspect is another good one there. Lee's on. He's watching. He says, "I'm sure we can do another match game." Yeah, we just got to get people together. We got to figure out how to get everybody together to be able to do it on a certain day or a night. It's just, like I said, it's really tough because of everybody being back bowling and stuff. So, Panama, what's going on? What is it? It's Santa Maria. Santa Maria says hi from Panama. Hi, thanks for joining us here. So anyway, this is really all I wanted to do was just kind of have a little bit of a chat, just kind of talk a little bit about, bowling. Like, what do you guys do when you're getting prepped for a tournament, or when you're thinking about events that you have coming up? What are some of the things that you try to do to get ready to do, or to get ready to bowl? For me, it's just making sure my surfaces are right. I'll look at the pattern itself, the distance and the volume. I never look at the actual graph where the 2-2s and the 4-4s and all that stuff. I don't look at any of that because, like I teach people, the topography changes everything so quick anyway. So when you put a pattern out on the lanes, you end up with a completely different pattern after 10 minutes from what they put out. And it's not just from topography, but because balls go down the lane and it changes them as well. And the vibrations, and you have hills and valleys on the lanes. When you look, next time you go to a bowling center, go walk to the approach and then look down, down the approach and look at the lanes, a lane level. You'll see the waves, in the approaches. You'll see them kind of be a little bit wavy out there, and that's just what happens when you put the oil on it. It looks like the pattern that you're originally bowling on, but then you bowl a little bit, or even wait 10 minutes, and the pattern completely changes. So it's just how it goes. So for me, again, I look at the actual distance and the volume and the surface that we're bowling on, and I try to make my recommendations for myself based on that, and try to build my arsenal of my surfaces based on that. Now, most times I won't change all my surfaces. Like if I'm bowling on, like, say it's a pattern that says it's 45 feet and it's 30 mil, which is a pretty high volume pattern, I'm not going to go to my equipment and take it right down to 500 or 1,000. I'm not going to beat everything up thinking it's just going to be flooded, because you never know. You might be going to a surf, even though it's a Pro Anvil lane, one of the newer surfaces, it could have tons of games on it, and the surface could be beat up. So it could hook a bunch more than you expect. So now you got a bunch of surfaces that don't match up, and you don't really have the time to change them again. So make sure I tend to. I'll take one down right away, but then I'll leave everything else at like 2,000 or 3,000, and then I'll take them down as I need them, because 2,000 or 3,000 generally is pretty normal. you don't need anything lower than that to at least see the read on the lane. You change your surfaces as you throw a few shots based on what you're seeing out of it, so, or you just make ball changes and change surfaces. So really try to wait until you get the ball going down the lane before you really do, a whole lot of surface prep. Maybe this has been asked before. What's the meaning or background of life's traction control? So the original meaning behind my channel was I was going to try to start a channel that was going to be a little bit more motivational, inspirational type of thing. And I realized in a heartbeat that I wasn't good at that. So I just kept it more bowling related and stuff. And I figured I'd have some conversations that would be life related and stuff. But I got it. I already created the logo and I kept it that, and it was unique. So I just said, you know what, whatever, we're going to keep it as Life's Traction Control. And now the shows are just going to be called LTC Bowling. So now that's pretty cool. I think just kind of left it like that, and it's a pretty recognizable logo now. I think it's pretty well known at this point. When you see that, it's me. So that's kind of what it's all about, is branding and stuff, right? We've started to create a brand between Bowler X and Life's Traction Control. You start seeing those two logos together, you know exactly what they mean. You know exactly they're all about bowling. So it's pretty neat. Deviate Prowler, no clue. Never had one. Didn't drill one. Couldn't tell you. Sorry, not much help there. Morning from Australia. Congrats on the win the other day. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot. Love winning. Hasn't happened in a while, not since my regional win. A couple years ago now. But like I said, I wasn't bowling a whole lot either. So now that I'm back into it, I expect to win every time. No, I'm just kidding. It won't. I expect to, but it's not going to happen. I know that. Set myself some goals and be good to go. All right, what do we got here? Just getting my wife to say okay is the biggest challenge. Yeah, no kidding. I know how that goes. I definitely know how that goes. So Kevin says, refresh surface on my equipment. Yeah, even if it just means cleaning them, taking a little bit of ball cleaner to them and doing, the right things there. As far as surface conditioning, making sure that you're not letting all that oil soak in when you're done bowling, and having a fresh surface to start the next league night or start the tournament with is a good idea. I think that's what I don't do enough of, is actually cleaning my equipment and taking care of it from day to day or week to week and stuff like that. So I probably should start doing. I'm gonna have to get a hold of Mr. Ron Hicklin and get myself some ball cleaner and stuff. Maybe that Wow Factor, the purple stuff or something, or as some of the haters like to refer to it as the what is that? The Fabuloso, I guess they call it. So. Pretty funny if you ask me that people call it that, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Who knows? I doubt it is. I know Ron pretty well. I can't imagine seeing him doing something like that. So yeah, whatever. But I'm gonna have to get a hold of him, have him send me some, get some ball cleaning done, because I don't have anything here. Favorite ball of all time, or what? No, here we go. Well, let's do this one first. What's the best pearl? Best pearl. Oh, now you put me on the spot here. I'm going to, right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Right now, my favorite pearl bowling ball in my bag that I've drilled over the last, since I started with Bowler X, Lane Masters Legend Bloody Ocean. That black pearl Bloody Ocean. I'm not kidding with that ball, you guys. I'm not kidding with that thing. It's unbelievable. Like, it's just crazy. That ball it's clean, and it just goes down lane when I need it to. And the weird thing is like, it gives me that hold in the middle, even when they were flat. Like this weekend when I won, they hooked so much and they were so flat. Even when I got it in a pinch, I still had the right ball reaction. It still got through the pins and still struck. So, I mean, it was incredible. Favorite ball of all time, the ball that made me the most money. There's a couple of them. I'm not going to just give you one. The Open Championships in 2014, my crew, we bowled 13-18, which is still a record. It's the highest individual team game, so single team game that's ever been bowled at the Open Championships. And I won. I finished first and second in doubles at the Bowlers Journal that year, and I bowled 300 at the Bowlers Journal that year in singles. Finished second in the singles event by just a few pins, but all with the IQ Tour. And the funny thing about that is that IQ Tour, I hated. I bowled one block at the. Now we'll tell you the story there. Where my guys, my group is there. We're waiting on Terry Rohrer to show up, and he's in a cab, and he gets to the bowling center, and we're getting ready to bowl, and he can't find his wallet, and he doesn't know what happened. He thinks he left it in the cab. Well, he calls the cab company, and they couldn't find it, this and that. Finally, he gets a call back later that day, and he had like $2,500 to $3,000 in his wallet because he went to the bank and made sure he had all the cash for the event. Because as you know, at USBCs, you got to have cash for brackets and stuff. So he brought all this cash with him as he got out of there, and he left his wallet in the cab. So of course they called him and said, "Hey, we found your wallet." But he got his wallet back and there was no cash in it. So he already took an immediate $2,500 hit or whatever it was right there, lost all that cash. And somebody wasn't very honest with him. So we ended up bowling the first block at the Bowler's Journal, and he actually bowled 299, which was a good game. He bowled 7-something. I ended up bowling like 630 or something, and I was mad. I'm like, I'm trying to use all these different bowling balls. I tried to use the IQ Tour. I just drilled it, and I wasn't sure what was going on. Like, it was just too quick. It kept whipping down lane on me. It just really, really hard down lane. I couldn't get it to slow down. So I'm like, you know what? We're bowling the very next Bowler's Journal again, and I took it into the storm booth, and I put a hole up in it, a weight hole, and hit the core enough to make it flare a little bit less and try to smooth it out. And I came back out and bowled the very next block with that ball, and I bowled 790 something with 300. Terry bowled 299 again, game one. We all three of us, me, Terry, and Zeke Bate, all had front at least 7 the first game in there. Terry ended up bowling 299 again, and this time with a stone 9. And the money was all there for if you bowl 300. So you had to bowl 300 in order to make that, to win that, that prize for, high game of the year. And game 2, I think, or 3, I don't remember. I think it was game 3. I had front 9, and I ended up bowling 300 that game 3. And there was 2 of us that bowled 300 that year. So that 300 game was actually worth about a little bit over $5,000 there, and ended up winning doubles, ended up finishing second in doubles and second in singles. And that was a big chunk of change right there. So that's the first story there. But Terry ended up making his money back that he lost because we bowled really well all together that year. Our team overall, we brought in over $50,000 back from that event with everything, between all those tournaments and stuff. So it was pretty sweet. I missed that. And this year, we didn't get to go bowl. I'm pretty sad that we didn't get to go bowl again, but hopefully next year we get to go and everything gets cleared up with this COVID stuff, and we'll be able to get back out there and do some bowling. But other favorite bowling balls, the other one that I really, really enjoyed was the Horizon, the Rotogrip Horizon, the original orange pearl one. I drilled one of them, and I won 3 or 4 events straight with that. All in the same year. I won the Bud Light Challenge for $6,000, and then I went and bowled the Cleveland Kickoff when it was worth $10,000, and then there was a $2,500 bonus for high game and match play, and so I won that again. But I didn't use the Horizon in that one. So the third one was that Total Envy was actually the one that I used out at that Bud Light Challenge. That was another one of my favorite balls. But won a college national championship with that Horizon. That Horizon went through all of my events out there. So those between the IQ Tour, that Total Envy, and that Horizon, those 3 all time are my favorite. All right. I'm just going to stay down here with these comments. Billy M. Hi, man. How are you today? I'm going bowling later today. Can't wait to throw my supersonic. Doing good, Billy. Appreciate you coming on and watching, listening, all that good stuff. What about Super Mario? I don't know. Purple stuff is oddly similar to Fabuloso mixed with denatured, is that how you say that? Alcohol. The harsh chemicals said to be in that purple stuff is the same chemical. It's good to know. I don't know. Again, I really don't care either way. It cleans bowling balls, so whatever. What's your opinion of ball weight? 64, still throw 16 pounds, going down in weight 15 mile an hour. No, there's not. You're not going to see much loss in carry from 16 to 15, if any. I mean, obviously, an extra pound, you're never going to convince me that it's not going to hit a little bit harder or go through the pins a little bit better. But all the studies show that there's not enough of a difference between 16 and 15. You go to 14, you see a little bit of a difference, but not much between 16 and 15. That's why you see most of the professionals, they use 15. Because, it is a pound lighter. Getting through all those games is a little bit easier with a little bit lighter bowling ball. But B, because the 15-pound bowling balls actually have the better core value numbers. And so you get better ball reaction out of them, is what they say. So it's a shame not see companies like Lane Master, Swag, and 3G not represented on tour. Seems ridiculous to charge so much. Well, you know what? You kind of have to. Honestly, you want to have those types of things. You want to make sure that these companies that are real want to be involved. They want to have their stuff out on the PBA Tour, and they should charge that much because that's where a lot of the money comes from for prize funds and all that stuff. I know now Bolero, now that they own it, they're putting in a lot of money. They're doing a lot of good things for it there. But that's not going to change. They're not going to change their product registration, and nor should they, I don't think. It does seem pretty high considering there's not a whole lot of money out there yet. I think they're getting better, and I think the PBA will get better. I think they're on the right track. I think Tom Clark has them on the right track. With Coley and Bolero out there doing things, I think they're going to make things better. Prize funds will start to increase. Sponsorship will start to increase. So I don't think you have to worry about much there, but I understand. Yeah, I mean, it is a big chunk. I think it's like $125,000 or something for a ball company to be registered. It is a little bit pricey, so it can be hard for some of these companies to justify that, because let's be honest, how many people actually watch a PBA show and say, oh, look, Bill O'Neill's using a redemption solid, I got to go have one of those. It's just not that way anymore. The majority of people, and not to toot my own horn here or anything, but the majority of people are now looking at YouTube and they're looking at ball reviews and they're getting their information from outside sources there. So it's just not the way it was. But, the PBA still has clout as far as those three letters. People want to see those three letters. And if you come out with a bowling ball company, I think you are losing some sales because of not being PBA registered, but you have to justify it as are you going to sell enough to make up that $25,000 that you have to pay to be registered? Now, don't quote me on that number. I don't know that that's the number for sure. I'm just throwing that out there. It might be something different, but I mean, you have to be able to justify it. Is it true staff members can't sell their bowling balls to the public? True. You cannot. You're not supposed to. I would say, like even the stuff you get for free, you really shouldn't sell. Like me, I don't sell my stuff. I'll usually just give it away. And I know when I was on EBI staff, they didn't even want you to give it away. They just wanted you to throw it away. I never did. Rat me out, whatever you want to do. I never threw it away. I gave it away because there's people who need it. Like there's high school kids that need equipment. They can't afford equipment and stuff like that. So I'm not going to throw equipment away. I mean, that just seems like a waste unless it's cracked out or something. But no, you're not supposed to sell it. What's the lowest game series you ever bowled on tour, and how did you feel? Oh boy, I don't know about series, but I've had minus tournaments quite a bit where I've finished minus. I don't think I've ever averaged less than 190 though. So I've always been that grinder. I've always been the guy that no matter what it is, I'm going to find a way to at least get to 190 or be close to even, get to that 200 mark pretty close. But I've had times where I've had some bad blocks. I'll tell you what. One of the events out in Vegas, I actually led a block for the first 8 games, came back and found a way to fall out of the cut completely after leading for 8 games. So, I mean, it happens. That's just how it goes. But it makes you feel terrible, and it won't be the last time it happens. And that's why I have that podcast down there. Make sure to follow that podcast because there's going to be days when I bowl bad and I'm going to want to jump on a podcast and I'm going to want to talk about it. And you may hear me spit some venom here and there, and it's going to be pretty funny. And people, my haters will love it because they'll be able to get on there and be like, look, see, I told you he was a jerk. Look at that jerk on there talking bad about, whatever bowling ball or reaction. I won't ever talk bad about a bowling ball, but I'm pretty good at talking bad about my ball reaction if I can't figure it out. That's one of my biggest complaints usually is I couldn't figure out how to get the corners to fall. Like a couple of weeks ago, I had a really bad weekend and it was frustrating. I should save this for a podcast, or maybe I'll clip this and put it in a podcast. But it was frustrating because it was literally every single, all but one pair I had struggled on one lane. I struck every time on one lane and then never struck on another. And I couldn't figure out why. And it wasn't always like the right lane. It wasn't always just the left lane. Like game 2 or 3, I struck every time on the left lane and I didn't strike at all on the right lane. And then game 4, I struck every time on the right lane, never struck on the left lane. It was frustrating and I couldn't figure it out. And that's how it goes sometimes, you know, and it's just, that's ball reaction. Like you saw it on one of the events I was just watching on YouTube where EJ actually had that. He couldn't strike on the right lane and struck every time on the left lane, you know, and he ended up losing the match because of it. So it's just some of those things that just happen. So in the podcast, those are the things I'm going to talk about, you know, and how I'm mentally going through it, how I'm mentally preparing for the next event. You'll be able to see how it, you know, affects me personally in that way. So make sure to follow along because it's going to be fun. You know, it's going to probably be even more fun when I win. Well, I don't know. It'll probably be more fun when I lose. So you get a bunch of you rooting for me to lose. So that way it'll be fun to follow along and listen to me rant and rave on there. But it'll be cool. It'll be fun. Make sure to go follow along and listen to some of the ones that are already on there. What else we got here? Not a question. Oop. Wife's calling me. I'll have to call her back. Not a question, but just want to thank you for your dedication to the channel. Hope you love doing it because you deserve to be as happy as you make your audience. Thank you. Love you too. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Or woman, whatever you are. Oh. But I appreciate those comments. I really appreciate those comments. Thank you. EJ just said he's changing to 15 pounds. Yep, he just did a big change there. So hold on. Let me put you on a little bit of a pause here. I'm going to answer the wife, see what the heck she wants. Oh, okay. I got to cut you guys short. Sorry. I got to get going. Wife needs some stuff done. She's making some shirts for her work and stuff. And guess who's doing the designs for them? Me. So I got to finish up a design on the back. It's for the police department, the Detroit Police Department down there. So I have to finish that design up and send it over there. So I'm going to get off here. I appreciate everybody coming through. It's been an hour and a half anyway, so probably a little too long as a podcast or as a live stream. So I'm out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow for the live stream. Make sure to tune into the live stream down there. Bowling 5 games tomorrow for qualifying, and then we'll have match play. I'm going to try to keep it going through the whole thing. Hopefully the quality's good. And then the next day we are bowling 6 games. It's a major. It's going to pay about $5,000 to win. So root me on. Pray for me. I need it. I want to bowl good this weekend. I got to go buy some new shoes for the wife. So until next time, guys, I'm out of here. We will see you guys later. If I can find my exit screen.
They say bowling is a dying sport.
A dying sport.
I disagree. I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree.
BowlerX.com for the love of bowling.